Hi there traders, and welcome here to this video on Bitcoin. This is going to be the fourth update within the outsized trends report. And wow, today is Thursday, May the 20th. What a wild week of pricing for Bitcoin. Now, I hope you had seen the video that I created on May the 5th, because in that video on May the 5th, we talked about, for about a minute, I laid out this alternative account that would suggest an ending diagonal pattern and a very swift and harsh retracement back down to 30,000 that would price would not land very long into that 30 to 40,000 range. So I hope you saw that video. If you hadn't seen it, let's go ahead and roll the tape. Let's get an idea of what might be cooking in the Elliott Wave kitchen. Now, here's one possibility that I'm looking at. Quite frankly, every dip that's been coming in Bitcoin has been aggressively bought. So, there is one pattern that's possible on Bitcoin where we may be looking at an ending diagonal pattern, something like this. That's not what I have labeled on the chart, but this is, I recognize this as a possibility. And if this is a possibility, then what that suggests is we may get a retracement back here near 30,000. If we get a retracement to 30,000, I'm not saying that we will, but if we do, I don't expect Bitcoin to last very long at those prices, even below 40,000. If we get below 40, I don't think Bitcoin's going to last very long. So I think these are going to be incredible buying opportunities if they take place. Okay, so now that we've got this price action under our belt, we have a little more revelation as to what's going on with the market. We can start to perhaps pinpoint a little bit better what the pattern may be from an Elliott Wave perspective. The bottom line, longer term, what happened earlier this week does not change the outlook for Bitcoin. I believe we're still in a bull run. There is some question as to where we might be at within the wave count, but either way, still a strong possibility that we see 100,000 here in the coming cycle. So taking a look at the chart, I'm going to share with you a couple of different wave counts. They're going to be slight variations of one another, but I want to put these out there so that you can see and help react accordingly. So what I've got here is that the high that we saw in April was the end of wave 3. And then since then, we've been going through a wave 4 retracement. Now, there is some harmonics taking place within this wave 3. It's an extended third wave. Within that extended third wave, we've got a third wave here as well. And this third wave is 4.236, the size of the first wave. That's a Fibonacci relationship. So what we've got here, you kind of see it in this red, very soft red, is that there is a harmonic relationship between these three waves right here. And that's this wave picture that I've got shared on the chart rather. And so that this was a wave 4. Now it's possible this could be just wave A of 4, and then we may get a retracement higher in wave B, and then another wave C of 4. Perhaps, this ends up being a triangle. I don't think that's going to be the case under this wave picture that we're looking at it at this point. The reason being is because this blue wave 2 basically went sideways and was very shallow. So therefore, to have a wave 4 that was deep and sharp would be an alternate way of alternating what's going on with wave 2 and wave 4. Now remember, within the Elliott Wave principle and Elliott Wave theory, what we've got is that there tends to be an alternation in the type of waves that take place within wave 2s and wave 4s. And so in this case, wave 4 being sharp and quick would alternate what we've got going on in wave 2. A couple other things I want to point out on this chart, regardless of how you're looking at the wave count. That April high was obviously the end of a fifth wave, and we could see that divergence taking place. The orange trend lines show us an ending diagonal, and the price behavior that we saw is very indicative of an ending diagonal, a very swift retracement back to the origination of the diagonal pattern, which was at 30,000, and it exactly tagged it, and then has since rebounded. Very nice divergence here taking place between the third and the fifth wave. So that's one possibility of looking at this, in that wave 4, blue wave 4 is over, and that we may be rallying in a wave 5 higher. Blue wave 5 would carry us up into the 100,000 above zone. There's another alternate that I want to share with you, and in order to share that with you, let me gray this out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to gray that out. There's another alternate that I'm considering, which is that this is blue wave 1, this is blue wave 2. Now, the interesting thing about this particular pattern is that we have some harmonics taking place up at this April high. We still have an ending diagonal pattern. This ending diagonal, would look at the same, take on the same shape, would still begin from the same level, would still end at the same level. So there's not much different here. However, wave 3 would be 1/6/1/8 the length of wave 1, and that's what this blue streak is on the chart. What's really interesting about this is that wave 3 is 1/6/1/8 the length of wave 1, and then wave 4, where this 30,000 mark is, it would have tagged not only the previous wave 4, but also would have tagged the 38% retracement level of blue wave 3. So this blue wave seems to have a little more harmonic going on with it. And the geometry within this blue wave appears to be a little bit better. The bottom line here, we're still looking at the same thing. We're still looking at a wave 5 that would carry us up into new highs, and those new highs would likely carry up in above the 100,000 mark. So slight variation, not much change between those. So one last thing that I want to share with you, obviously I'm still looking for some new highs to take place here. When I look at this impulse wave or developing impulse wave that began back in March of 2020, there's not any instance in here where we have a deep retracement back to a previous wave 4, like what we saw earlier this week. And so, and this is really the deepest retracement, the largest correction we've seen in Bitcoin since this correction that we saw here in 2019 and early 2020. This is the largest correction since then. And obviously, this 2019-2020 correction was just of a different degree. And so I've got it held on the back of my mind that it is possible that maybe this was the end of blue wave 5 up here, this was the end of the first of 5 waves, and that this correction lower might be the second of 5 waves. Now, if that's the case, then we might see a little more pain to the downside, but I don't think it's going to last forever. I think we'll see those prices gobbled up and then eventually shoot up to new highs. I don't see any pattern that suggests the April high in Bitcoin is going to be the high for a very long time. I don't see any patterns out there that suggest that. So we can keep anchored in looking for new highs to come in Bitcoin, and you can look for opportunities at cheaper pricing to try to step into that bigger trade. But within this uptrend, there are no other instances where we come back and we actually retrace to the extreme of the previous 4th wave. And I thought that was kind of strange, because with an Elliott wave, that happens all the time. And so I thought I would go back and check that run-up that we did from 2015 to 2020, and it had a similar type of pattern. In fact, it was right here, was the only place where you could argue prices retraced back to a 4th wave extreme. And there is some similarities to this pattern as what we saw here over the month of April and early May. And so on the back of my mind, I'm also wondering, maybe if we're comparing this uptrend and this bull run to the 2017 bull run, perhaps this is where we are at right now. Maybe we're in like a June, July of 2017, and there's still some more upside to be had here. So just want to leave that with you. The bottom line here is I do not think this is a long-term high in Bitcoin. I do believe that we're going to surpass that $64,000 mark. That the low that we saw earlier this week at 30,000, there's a good chance that low is going to hold. We could grind sideways in a large triangle and that 30,000 mark will still hold. So I would say there's probably a 75% chance that that 30,000 is the low and that we're going to see new highs. If we do see new lows below 30,000, I do believe they're going to be short-lived, maybe get down to 20,000, but any pricing in that $20,000 to $30,000 range, or even from 30 to 40,000, basically anything below 40,000, I think is going to be a good value for Bitcoin as we see a run up into new highs above 64,000. So with all the wild price action going on, I wanted to get an update to you and hope you find this valuable. We will see you in the next video. Good luck. Take care. Bye now.